Hello, everybody. Welcome to Assembly. Here we are. We're ready. We're ready to rock and roll for yet another assembly. I have a lot to share with you this morning, and so I'm going to make sure to try and get through everything as quickly as I possibly can. We have some special surprises in store for you, and hopefully you will be entertained and it will maybe bring a little smile to your face, which is really the objective of us trying to be together even though we're apart. So let's start. We always need to start things with important ritual so that we remember the values of our place and we come together as a community. I would like to invite everybody to say the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America. And today the Pledge of Allegiance is going to be recited by the mighty, spectacular grade 2 student body. So take your right hand and cross your hand over onto your heart so that it's sitting right on your heart. And we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance with grade 2. Grade 2, take it away.
Please stand and place your right hand over your heart. I pledge of allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we are going to have the school song sung beautifully by grade 8. Grade 8 students, you, as I said to you last time, are going to be tasked with leading this great pirate crew in reciting of the school prayer. And grade 8, if you're ready, get out there and start singing. It's going to be fantastic. Grade 8, take it away.
We thank thee for the place in which we dwell, for the love that unites us,
for the peace afforded us this day,
for the hope with which we expect tomorrow,
for the health, the word, the food, and the bright skies,
and make our lives live
and full of friends in all parts of the earth.
Okay, so I have a bunch of things I want to make sure to share with you. So I'm going to just talk straight through, and I apologize for the talk through. And there's some fun things to share. So first of all, as would be appropriate for the values of our school, we will continue with the food drive that we started last spring. So because of the hard work and perseverance of Amy Spencer, middle school history teacher, and Nathan Carlisle, middle school student, we will continue with the food drive. There will be bins outside of the administrative office beginning this Wednesday outside of the admin office at Carmel campus. And that's a place where you and your family and friends may deliver food for pickup for families in our community that do not have enough food right now and that we are able to potentially help them. So the food that needs to be delivered is non-perishable food. Non-perishable means food that's not going to go bad in a couple of days, or food that's not going to that does not need to go into a refrigerator. Soup, canned soup, peanut butter, beans, things that we can have around for a while and that are not going to go bad if they're not refrigerated. If you have any questions about that, please contact Mrs. Ishii. She will be happy to help you organize that. But I'm very proud of our community for continuing the food drive for our community. It's a really important and necessary way for us to be taking care of the people within our very own community. I would like to do a shout out to our fantastic Spanish teachers. The entire World Language Department in the lower and middle division has been doing a tremendous job, and the Spanish speaking and Spanish learning that's happening on all fronts is absolutely stupendous. So bravo, muchas gracias to the students and to the faculty. Many, many thanks to all of you. I'm excited about the language learning that's occurring even in remote instruction. It's pretty darn impressive. Also a shout out to the amazing Mrs. Maharjan, who is an upper school teacher, teaches French in the upper division, and invited the idea of a middle and lower school after school French course. And so we have one now, which is super exciting.
Alors, bonjour tout le monde. Can everybody say bonjour?
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Do you remember what bonjour means?
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Right, like in Vietnamese? Bonjour means hello, good day, right? Bonjour, bonjour. So today I thought, since last week we talked a little bit about saying things that I like and I don't like, today we could talk about meal and food and typical eating practices in France, because there were some kids who were interested in culture, so I thought we could do a little bit of a mashup of that today.
And it's been phenomenal. It's a great French course. It's fun. It's exciting and interesting, and it's just a big success. So many thanks to Mrs. Maharjan and all you students who are devoted to speaking and learning the language of French. I hope you have a better success than I did with that when I was in middle school. It was a painful reality for me. But it's a beautiful language, and we're lucky to have Mrs. Maharjan. So many thanks to all of you for that. Okay, a few more shout outs here for our pirates. Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. So remember how I had everybody read it over the summer, and then I asked you to send in ways that it inspired you after reading it to think about how you could better take care of your own community, what ways you could be inspired and get creative, because it is truly the minds and the ideas that come from children that can really help change the world for the good. I really truly mean that. And I read every single one of your submissions that came in, and there were a couple that I wanted to share with you today that I just thought were particularly inspiring. So, Zuri, a grade 5 student, Zuri is new to Stevenson School, and she was inspired by The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind because it made her think about helping her own community. It showed her that she could make a difference at any age. Isn't that the truth, Zuri? And so, because Zuri is an artist, she wants to help her community by giving kids art supplies, journals, and some of her own paintings. Being creative is something that has helped her through these really rough times, and she thinks it will help them too. I could not agree with you more, Zuri. Absolutely, I think that's a phenomenal idea. Great work. Nelson, in grade 4, Nelson is a new student as well, has created an invention that helps our community, he says. It's a 3-in-1 invention that can be an ultraviolet infrared telescope to help scientists observe nebula and star clusters. Fascinating. But when you turn this thing upside down, it turns into a survival station and can protect one from wildfires and tsunamis. You can even bring your own little telescope up to the top and watch the stars. It has a built-in robot that helps you turn it upside down so that if you can't, you don't have to worry about it. The robot will do it for you. Nelson, that would be an incredible invention. If you have the capacity to get that designed and implemented, holy smokes, the world could certainly use your help. Airly is the youngest of the Andrade children, and she has a fantastic idea. Airly would like to start a group in her community called the Yellow Jackets. The Yellow Jackets would gather to clean out all the yellow broom shrub bushes that invade our area. They're considered an invasive species. And so they're a shrub. I'm sure for those of you who don't live here, you may not see this, but those of you who do live here, I'm sure you've seen it everywhere. It's a yellow blooming shrub. It grows big and wild all over the place. It's actually a really invasive, bad shrub, and Airly knows that. Airly would like to replace them with native plants for the deer and other forest animals to eat. As she learned on one of her field trips to the preserve last year, broom shrub are toxic and spread their seed quickly, resulting in thousands and thousands of yellow bushes that take up valuable land space where animal food could and should grow. Sometimes the wildlife have trouble getting around it and locating food that they really can eat. Airly is concerned that the animals, mainly the deer, will starve or eat the broom and die. The broom bushes also make great kindle for forest fires, yikes, as they are extremely dry. One more reason to get rid of it as much as possible, since the wildfires are happening more and more. I think this is a brilliant concept, Airly, and I really encourage you to go to your local the city mayor, to go to the police department, to go to the fire department, and invite the community to think about creating a program like this. And I would be the first to sign up to be a Yellow Jacket to help get rid of that shrubbery. I think that's a great idea. I'd even be willing to bring it to my Rotary Club and see if Rotary would be interested in helping out. They do all sorts of stuff like that to help with the community. Great idea. Really great, Airly. And the other shout out for The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind inspiration that I'd like to do is to Harrison in grade 3. Harrison is a new 3rd grade student. And Harrison writes that he would like to invent a shrink ray machine that could shrink fire. You press the button down, and then there's rings that are different shades of blue. And once they are the bright, bright blue, it means that it worked and the fire has shrunk.
To help, I would try and make a shrink ray to shrink the fire, and then it would shrink the fire so then you can just put it out easily.
Truly, if there was a way to do this and you could communicate that to the local fire department, I think that would be phenomenal. I really appreciate how every one of you are thinking about very specific ways to help your actual local community. We're all being impacted in so many significant ways, and your ideas are absolutely fantastic. Now take the next step with the idea and see if you can turn it into action. That's how change is made. So, moments that we are brave. I asked all of you to send me a note telling me when you were brave. Almost all of you did. Not everybody, but almost. I read every single one of those. There were some spectacular things that you had to say about moments when you were brave, some silly things, and some actually quite serious things. So I had to choose from a whole bunch of them, which were just fantastic to read. And I'm going to choose one that was this moment of real serious bravery, and another that was a silly act of bravery, and one that I think we could all share in knowing that experience. So the first one is Amanda. Amanda's in 8th grade. Amanda wrote about a time that she was brave when she was at a grocery store. And there was an old man there that really needed help shopping for his groceries. She wrote to me, "At first I wasn't sure if I should help him, but I was brave enough to be the only one who offered to help, regardless of all the other people who were there too." That's a pretty phenomenal moment. So what I understand is that Amanda, as an 8th grade student, is at a grocery store. She sees an old man who needs help with his groceries. Nobody else in the grocery store was willing to help him, just Amanda. So Amanda has the courage and the bravery, even with all those other adults probably standing around watching this old man struggling. Amanda was the one who stood up and said, "I'm going to go help that person." Amanda, I cannot commend you highly enough for your act of courage and bravery. The fact that you chose to be compassionate and kind and see a person, regardless of age, regardless of ability, regardless of skin color, nothing mattered other than you saw a person in distress and you chose to stand up and help them. I am so proud of you for what you did. That was an incredible act of bravery. Thank you. Thank you for being a role model to all of us. That was a really important moment, and I'm really grateful you shared that with me. And now I get to share it with everybody. The other act of bravery that we wanted to do a quick shout out to is Lauren in 4th grade. Lauren shared with me that she was brave because she tried oysters for the first time. And if you have not had a chance to have an oyster, it is a very unique experience. Some people love oysters and other people really don't. What Lauren shared with me was that her opinion is that they are really, really bad. Lauren, I think that was fantastic. Thank you for being brave enough to share that you tried oysters. And for those of you who are curious about trying oysters, ask your parents. For those of you who love them, fantastic. Keep on loving them. For those of you who don't, I fully understand. Okay, 2 more things, and then I promise that we'll move on. But I do want to talk with you about a couple more things. In my advisory, I made every single one of my advisees create a video of their breakfast, of how they make breakfast. Some of them were really clear to say, I don't usually make my breakfast. Another person in my house makes my breakfast for me. It could be my guardian, it could be my grandparent, my mom, my dad, a sibling, whomever. And I said, that's okay, but I would like for you to learn how to make your own breakfast, and then you need to video it and send the video in. So they did. will say to you, it was really good for us to watch with each other. I mean, it was hilarious, right? There were some moments that were super funny, like the time that I tried to do my breakfast video and I was showing them how to make some fancy coffee through this special filter process, and the entire thing fell apart and there was just coffee everywhere. It was a total fail. That was entertaining. The reason that I want people to send in videos of themselves making breakfast, which is funny in and of itself and offers us a moment of levity, a moment of laughter, is because I really want to encourage everyone to begin to take steps of taking care of themselves. So making breakfast for yourself, even if it's simple, a bowl of cereal with some milk, a piece of toast, a piece of fruit even, pouring yourself a glass of orange juice, whatever it may be, is a really important step in your development as a person, as an individual person. And my challenge to you is to send me an email with a video showing me that you have made your own breakfast. Now, if you're not a breakfast eater and you'd prefer to send me a video of you making a snack or making lunch or even helping prepare for dinner or making the full dinner, great, I don't care. Show me how you know how to engage in taking care of yourself by making a meal. And if you don't know simple things like how to crack an egg, who cares? That's great. We had a kiddo in my advisory who didn't know how to crack an egg before, and he did it, and he did it perfectly, and he had never done it before. It's just a little act of courage and bravery right there. It's fun, and it's good for us. And so make sure that there's an email on here. Make sure you send your video clip of yourself making a breakfast or a meal if you're not a breakfast eater. And if you can get that video clip to me by the end of the week, that would be fantastic. Last, but certainly not least, for some of you, you know this and other people don't know this about me as a person, just me, Molly, not Mrs. Bozo, just Molly as a person here on earth, which I feel grateful to be. I work really hard to find things in my life that are delightful. It's hard right now. It's hard and lonely work that we're doing together and apart, right? We have to be on these screens right now. We don't get to be near each other. There are things that we took for granted about our life before the COVID pandemic that we all really miss, like a hug. There's things like that can be really sad and exhausting and lonely. So I work really hard every day, even sometimes even in the hour that I'm in, to find a way to see something good. So I'll give you an example. This morning is Monday morning. I wake up at about 6:30 and I'm like, okay, I've got to go for a run. I got to get some exercise before I get on a bunch of Zoom calls. But my body was tired and I kind of was like, I don't really want to do this. But I pushed myself. I got out there and I started to go for my run. And I was trudging along. My body was sore and I was a little bit grumpy about having to be on a run. And it was early, the sun was just coming up. It was beautiful, you guys. And I looked up and all of a sudden there was this hawk flying over the open sky where the sun was rising. And it was the most spectacular moment. And it lasted, I don't know, maybe a minute. And I thought to myself, that's why you got out here, Molly. You have to get out. You got to push yourself through the drudgery, the discomfort of having to go for a run, so that you can see the joy and the beauty in the world. If I hadn't gone for that run, I wouldn't have seen that hawk. I wouldn't have seen that beautiful sky. And it was a really important moment for me to just put away in my pocket and remember and have that was some good that came to me at that moment. So here's my question. What are you finding every day in the tiniest little details that brings you just a little bit of joy? Where can you find the joy? Again, you have another assignment. I want you to email me how you find the joy. It can be the way you do it every day or in little moments like I just shared with you, little vignettes, little windows where you see there's a piece of joy that I can capture and hold on to. For when later in the end of the day I'm fatigued or I'm feeling lonely, that's the way for you to find that. Okay? So send me the email. Tell me how you figured that out. And I cannot wait to read the way that we all find pockets of joy. And I'm going to send out different shout outs to people as they send those in to me. Have a fantastic Wednesday. Get outside this afternoon. Go and be outside. Take a big, deep breath and know that I'm right here really believing in every single one of you. And I cannot wait to see you again soon. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of the week. Ciao, pirates. Bye.